Hey guys, this is Matthew Movies coming at you again, and this time I'm going to be talking about another one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's the second documentary on the list, and it's called Enron, or The Smartest Guys in the Room. I'm a huge fan of this movie. Obviously, it's my 16th favorite movie of all time, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Basically, I find the story fascinating. I know, like, everybody heard about Enron, obviously, during like the fall of the company. It was this huge news story. And I remember back when I was younger watching like the footage of the people in charge taking the fifth and all the outrage, but not really completely understanding why, because I hadn't really read that much about it or followed it, because frankly at that time in my life it didn't really affect me a whole lot, and I just didn't really care that much. I was, it was my parents were watching it when I wanted to be watching The Simpsons or something like that. But then a few years down the line, I watched this documentary, and I just found this documentary so fascinating because it's so illuminating as to like what exactly went wrong with this gigantic company. And it's just amazing to think like this was a huge company that just went completely belly up in such an insanely short amount of time, because so many things in it were just not on the up and up. And it's amazing, like a lot of the like pretty much almost the entire reason why that happened is because the hubris of the two gentlemen that were at the top levels of it. And like it's amazing because you can, I keep saying amazing, but I find this movie amazing, I tell you. It's fascinating. I think I said that earlier too, but it's interesting. There we go. You can see at the beginning of the company that I don't think they set out to do anything necessarily wrong. I think it was like they basically, the major concept that was the ruination of the company was that they got this thing called mark-to-market passed with the FCC, and basically they were able to book their potential earnings on a deal when the deal started. And you really got the feeling that the guy who was in charge, the guy named Jeff Skilling, he got them to approve this, not because he was like, I'm going to defraud millions of people, but because he was like, well, I came up with this deal, I'm the one who got this deal through, it should be on my paperwork, not on a guy who might follow me if I go to another company that could pay me more. But what it ended up doing was they ended up booking all of these profits into their company that never came to be, because for instance, there was one where they built a gigantic power plant in India, but the community couldn't afford to pay them for the power, so they spent like a few $billions building this huge plant and marked it as they were going to make billions in profits, but they ended up not making any money off of it. So not only did they not make the money that they claimed that they did on their paperwork, because they were able to claim potential profits, they also lost a whole bunch of money. So the only way in order to keep the company like looking good and keep it so that it was continuing to make money despite these shady business like plans and just bad deals, was that they kept having to make sure that their stock price went up to be able to counter any losses. And then simultaneously they had a CFO who was trading off losses to other companies, and the way he was doing that was he was making fake companies to buy their debt. And it's just such a fascinating story. I know that my description of it may have sounded kind of boring, but like Arnold Schwarzenegger gets involved in the story because he ended up getting elected governor largely because of Enron. There's people whose lives were utterly ruined. Like, it is just so amazing to think like what happened here, and how it was able to there were so many people who were complicit in this. And even if they weren't necessarily knowing what they were complicit in, like there was people who were consistently saying that this stock was a perfect stock because it always went up, without ever looking into how that was possible, because that doesn't make any fiduciary sense. So it was just really amazing how like all these people from people outside of the company, people within the company that were completely immoral. Like there were some people that like there was no question, like but I don't know, that Jeff Skilling guy, by the end he was completely immoral. He completely knew that he was defrauding people, but maybe he started off with the best of intentions. There's other people in the company that's not the case. They set out to defraud people, and in doing so, were able to keep the company propped up for a little bit longer. And it's just such a fascinating story. So I mean, if you like documentaries, please check it out. It may have sounded a little bit dry in my description of it, but it doesn't read it, even though you're not reading it. Like, if you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't feel dry when you're watching it, if you're someone who can look into that kind of thing. So please check it out. I absolutely love it, and it's a very underseen movie in my opinion. And I really, if nothing else, it's something really cool to learn. Like when like Enron doesn't come up a whole lot these days because it's an old news story, but it's a very important story that really tells a lot about the economy in the world and how all these companies that go under, how that's possible and how many people have to get in line to let these types of things happen. So if you want to have a better understanding of the world around you and how it affects you, because it does definitely affect you. I didn't feel like it did at the time because I was like an ignorant person, but it definitely affects everyone when all these things happen, because when one stock drops like that, it affects everybody. So yeah, definitely check it out. I absolutely love it, and I hope you do too. Have a nice day. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. I'll be like subscribe.